Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a installation of this rifle scope mount. This is the Discoveryopt one. It's a 20 MOA, 34 millimeter tube rings. I already did another video where I weighed this. It comes in at 5.6 ounces. Okay, so I've compared it to a couple of different other ones in a different video. 5.6 ounces, only $36. And over here, you'll see the prices of some other ones that I already covered in the other videos. So we're going to try this one out. I mean, if it works out, it's great because it's only $36. And I'm hoping that Discoveryopt also gives us maybe a 25 MOA scope mount and a 30 MOA because I could certainly use those. I'm going to try and make this 20 MOA work for me. It will up to 1,000 yards. I got a 308 that I want to try and take out to 1,200 yards. I'm really at the edge of or what I have in my scope as far as dialing up. Okay, so what I did is initially I pulled out all the screws, and they do give you 2 extra screws in here plus the Allen key. I took out all the screws, and what I did is I applied Loctite to them, right? This blue Loctite, and I let them dry. Okay, and now when I put them in, I'm going to Loctite them again. Okay, now I have the reason I'm doing this is because I have found issues with the screws coming loose in a lot of these budget mounts. Okay, and it's probably because the screws are not like super tight, to the threads that are in there, or to the way they've been tapped. Okay, so that's fine. We're just going to apply a little bit more Loctite, and I don't know. I mean, that might be the one and only difference between this and like a $200 mount. I mean, I don't know, but I find that with the budget ones, I definitely have to apply the Loctite twice before, and sometimes 3 times. Because I usually end up having to take them off, put them back on. And I can tell when I go to remove it how much effort it takes to get them out of there versus how much effort I would like it to take to get out of there. So they usually by the time I get around to Loctiting this like 3 times, they usually stay in place. So we're gonna put these in temporarily. These are gonna come back out, or rather, they're gonna get loosened up a little bit. Now, and you guys are gonna see why. What is that Allen key? They do give you an Allen key, which, anyway, I'm going to use this one from the Aerial Precision. The reason why I'm using this one is because this one works really fast, okay? So this would be a nice thing if they could kind of do in the future. Use Allen keys that look like this and spin real fast, okay? But they do give you an Allen key that I can't seem to find right now. I really don't care that much. So what we're going to need is we're going to need this level, okay? And what I'm going to do, okay, is I'm going to basically make sure that this is level. Yeah, so I already know from prior experience I'm going to have to lift it up on this side a little bit. Okay, so basically, and if you're not sure like which way you have to lift, what you do is you just pick up this thing and you see which way you got to lift this in order for your bubble level to bounce off, and then you'll know which side you got to support. So let's see if we put one paper here. Probably going to need something thicker than that. Let's double this up. Let's do this. That's what it's probably going to need. Put this little paper there. I mean, I'm only off by a little bit. There you go. That's perfect. Now you need to push down over here to apply a little bit of pressure like that, and then you check your. I don't know if you guys can see it in the. Let me cant this over a little bit. All right, and get your bubble level there to be just about perfect. Okay, so that's the first thing you got to do. You got to figure out how to get this mount level. Okay, so in this case, I just got to put a little bit of paper here. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this giant scope and I'm going to put it in here. Okay, now that the mount itself is level, move the camera a little bit. Oops. Now if you move it, you're going to have to check it again. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so I'm going to take some of the weight off the front. I'm just going to put a pen underneath it. There you go, to support it a little bit in the front. I'll try to get this center. Now you can slide this up or front or back. Like if you plan to put, let's say, like an offset, like if you plan to have like a red dot offset, you might need to slide this back a little bit to give yourself a little bit of extra space. I'm not planning to put anything back here, so for now I'm just gonna center it. In the past, before you had like these gigantic like Picatinny rails, what you would have to do is actually, because with the old style like FUD guns, there was a very limited space where you can mount the scope. So you would actually have to mount the mount first on the rifle, and then you would slide this back to get the right eye relief. Okay, we don't need to do that now. We could just center this. Okay, so the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to take this level and I'm going to put it to the top here, and I'm going to figure out where this bubble level is going to be balanced. Okay, so that's going to be right there. All right, so if I got you guys over, you can see how that's about where I want it. You don't have to get too crazy with it if it's like a little, because here's the thing. When you put these screws in there, right, and you tighten this down, this is going to pull a little bit. So the way it's sitting right now, when you go to put these screws in there, it's going to end up pulling, and that's usually the hardest part about all this. Pull this to the side. Tightening this thing down and getting it to stay in place when you tighten it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply just a little bit more Loctite to these screws. Just a drop. Just going to go around, do it to all of them. We're just doing a drop now because there's already Loctite on there. Get up. Did I close it? Maybe dry a little bit. Yep. It might dry a little bit. Okay. All right, great. So that's good. Let's see, we're still level here. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these screws and I'm going to, first of all, you want to look at these things and see if there's like a particular direction you want these things to be facing, because they do seem to have like a design on here. So you can, do you want them facing each other? Yeah, maybe we'll do that. I'll have them going in opposing directions. I mean that's like, doesn't make a difference. So drop your screws in there. Oops, don't drop them. Definitely do this indoors, because you're gonna lose. They give you 2 extra screws, but I mean, even indoors, I have lost screws. And clean off the floor. You want to sweep the floor before you start doing this, so that you can, if you drop anything, you can find it easy. So keep in mind that this area back here is where you're going to be working with the throw lever. Actually, I want to push it forward just a little bit so I can access this over here, because I'm going to be, this is the area I need to be able to access this. So let's, I pushed it forward just a little bit. All right, let's balance you out again. Okay, that's about right. Okay, so once you get that in place, you're gonna very lightly turn these. Now you can see why this is such a great tool that Area Precision gives you. Let's get the bubble level back on there. That's pretty good. So I'm not tightening this. By the way, this is also magnetic. That's another cool thing that they do. So yeah, it's definitely worth buying at least one Area Precision mount, just so that you can get this tool. And this is like the the offset mount, right? So you definitely want to do the back side, which is balanced, because if I start putting pressure in the front, even though I have a pen underneath there, it might fall forward. So you want to do the back side first, which is better balanced. All right, let's drop these screws in there. Now, what I also have is I have a bubble level on the back of the rifle on the Picatinny rail. I'll show it to you guys in a little bit. So that when I go to shoot, it makes a big difference. You know, if you have a cant on the rifle, probably like I found out recently that when I'm off, like if my bullets are impacting left or right, it's usually because my cant's a little bit off. So ever since I installed the bubble level, and it was like a $15 Monstrum when I installed on it. Ever since I installed the bubble level on the back of the rifle, I know, you know, basically I find that basically I have less point of aim shifts with different types of ammunition. Everything seems to go down the center. Let's get the bubble level back on there. Yep, still centered. All right. So put my hand there. I'm going to tighten the back up just a little bit. And if you go too hard on one side, this will definitely crank it over. Right now I see it start shifting a little bit that side. So I'm going to tighten up a little bit on this side. No, I actually went the wrong way. I should have went the other way. Loosen up just a little bit on this side. Crank down on this side just a little bit more. Yeah. And you'll be surprised, just like I can see the bubble level move back and forth as I'm tightening this thing down. Now, at a certain point, it's going to stop moving. So it's just a matter of getting to that point. So I'm kind of seeing which way. So yeah, so basically it shifted a little bit this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up just a little bit on this side. Tighten down just a little bit more on this side. And that's it. You know, just loosen up on one side, tighten down on the other side, and it will straighten out that bubble. It took me a while to figure this thing out, because I kept like leveling it off, and then I would tighten these screws up, and then I would see like I'm off again, and I didn't realize the effect of tightening these things down, how they move that bubble level. Well, let's go to the front now. Okay, that's good. So now I got it at a point where I can just crank it. So you don't have to like get stupid with this thing. You don't need to crush the tube. The Loctite more than anything is going to hold these things in place. And you just gotta, until this settles in, you're gonna just have to check it. Like when, every like whatever, like 50 rounds or so, check it, come back and torque your screws a little bit. If you see that they keep moving on you, take them out, put more Loctite in there. Now, when you go to take them out, you just take them out one at a time. I got some Loctite. Let's throw on the tube here. Clean it off. Okay, so that's good. All right, so this sucker is ready. Now I want to show you guys a trick here that I learned. As far as eye relief, like how far forward or back. I'm going to look at the rifle. So the question becomes like how far forward or back do you push this to get the right eye relief. On this scope, I've already figured out that it's got to go about there. Okay, but one of the things I want to show you guys, you take the caps off, right, and you get a light. And what I'm going to do is, hold on, let me put a pen in the front here to keep this thing from tilting back. There you go. So if you take a light, and move the camera a little bit more this way so you guys can see. So if you take a light and you shine it through your tube and you put your finger there, right? So you see how I'm shining through the tube there? So as you move back and forth, right, you're going to see where that comes into focus. Actually, let me probably show you better on the paper here. So as you move this back and forth, right, so there it closes, that closes, opens up, that closes there, starts opening up there, right? So that's my eye relief right there. So you can just forward a little bit. So I can match this to the paper here. All right, so if I go forward, it opens up. If I go back, it opens up. So that's my eye relief here. So now what I can do, let me get a tape. I can basically measure from the end of the glass here to this end of the paper here. Yeah, let me do that. Sorry. So I've got 4 inches of eye relief. Okay, 4 and 4 1/4. About 4 1/4 inches of eye relief. Now, when you put your face on the gun, you're gonna slide your face back and forth a little bit, but that will give you just like a starting point. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do, loosen these screws up a little bit. Again, this is a great tool here. Actually, let me tilt the camera back just a little bit. Now they tell you, the great thing about this scope is they do tell you how much to torque it down. So up here they tell you 20 inch-pounds for these screws here, and then 30 inch-pounds for these screws here. I really need to get a torque wrench. So I'm going to do this the way I've always done it, which is just to kind of feel it out. So I've already figured out where the eye relief is on this thing. It's surprisingly forward. I mean, it used to be like on some of the older scopes, you had to, it's basically it's the last one forward without coming off the upper receiver. But there used to be a time when like your eyeball needed to be almost up against the glass, and that seems to have changed. So anyway, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna tighten this down in the middle, not all the way. Do the middle one first. Do the ones on back here. Oh, and also what you want to do is when you mount this, like right now I'm applying forward pressure because that's where the scope is going to want to go in the recoil. So pull the scope forward. Get the middle one, snug. Get the other ones snug after that. All right. So now at the snug, go back. Finger tighten the middle one. And then finger tighten the others. So after we shoot about 50 rounds of this, we'll come back and just test it to make sure it hasn't moved, okay? And that's how you do it, all right? Is it 5 power? I'm gonna get my glasses on. Parallax completely off. I'm indoors. But anyway, that's how you do it. So drop some comments below. I'm gonna do now another video where I'm outside shooting this bad boy. Hey everyone, I want to show you guys this Discoveryopt mount on this AR. Okay, so I've already taken some shots with this. This is the 20 MOA So this scope here has 30 mils of travel, okay? So right now, the position that I'm set in, I basically have like 16 and a half mils of upward travel. So 60, so I essentially have 14 mils going in the opposite direction, right, that are not being used. So what I need, ideally, I think, is a 30 MOA scope. Because if I had a 30 MOA scope mount, what that would do is that would take me closer to the bottom. So I would be like I'd be about 2.5 mils up from the bottom, okay? So what I need Discoveryopt to make for us is, I guess, both a 30 MOA scope mount and a 25 MOA scope mount, and sell it for about the same price, $36. So I'm putting this video out there, getting the information out there, letting them know what we need and why, right? Because this is a Palmetto, that's a Palmetto upper, which is an extremely popular AR-15 upper. So it's not like this Palmetto is like grossly out of spec or anything. You know, Palmetto sells thousands and thousands and thousands of these, okay? So if I need a 25 MOA scope mount and a 30 MOA scope mount, there's other people out there that are also going to need it, okay? So that's my feedback for Discoveryopt. So far, this is looking like this 20 MOA scope mount is looking great. Give us a 25 and a 30 MOA scope mount at the same price. Thank you very much.